All right, let's talk about the Los Angeles Rams coming off an absolutely massive Week 3 victory to save their season. I think they found a way to get to 1-2 despite a rash of injuries. I think it can only go up from here. And we've got a great update for the Rams that shows one of their key strategies is finally starting to emerge. I'm Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, like I mentioned, the Rams found a way to get it done, beating their hated rival San Francisco, and of course, a massive NFC West clash. Things are improving for the Los Angeles Rams as they look to try and eventually get healthy and work through just this rash of early season injuries. But as they're battling through this and finding a way to win, like we saw last Sunday, we're also seeing the underpinnings of a key strategy they made this offseason in terms of how they're structuring their young rookies. We're talking about the pod with Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk. Let's pull up this report, the latest report, courtesy of SI.com. Los Angeles Rams first and second round picks Jared Verse and Braden Fisk lead all NFL rookies in pressures on the quarterback through the first 3 weeks of the 2024 season. Through the first 3 games, Fisk leads all rookies with 12 pressures, while Verse is second with 11 pressures via next gen stats. Both Verse and Fisk were productive players in college, combining for 15 sacks during their final season with the Seminoles. Their college production is already translated to the NFL, with the duo helping the Rams pressure opposing quarterbacks. All right, the first half of the report is key. And look, we've already done a film review of Jared Verse. Spoiler alert, we've got one of Braden Fisk coming later this week. So Rams fans, keep your eyes peeled for that. But it's clear the pod strategy with Verse and Fisk is working and is off to a great start. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, Rams fans, in the comment section below, obviously, first 3 weeks of the regular season, due to all the injuries, didn't go 100%, as I'm sure you hoped. But so far, give us your MVP of this Rams football team through 3 weeks. A lot of different ways you could go. Obviously, quarterback plays a big role, but maybe somebody else, a guy who's really emerged for you. Give us your 3 game MVP for the LA Rams and put them in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this latest update involving Los Angeles here?
Yeah, Nick, I would like to nominate the pod as our MVP. They're, like a celebrity couple. We've got to figure out a name for them, like Visk or First or something like that. I think it's really interesting strategy. And I love this so far because the Rams, they had a concept. It was something that was a little bit out there, getting guys that played together in college, being able to play off each other, having that knowledge of each other's abilities, thought it would translate over to the NFL. We saw them to be crazy enough to go out and execute getting both those guys, actually kind of reaching up to get another guy. They were so confident in their strategy. And then we see the results. And that's the key here. We're starting to see the results. And they're two of the best rookies, the two best rookies in the NFL as far as getting to the quarterback, pressuring the quarterback. This is better. This is as good as it possibly could have been for the Rams as far as results go. I mean, your two guys that you got thought worked together are number one and number two in the NFL as far as it goes, pressuring the quarterback. I mean, this is fantastic news for the Rams brain trust, showing they know what they're talking about and they have some really innovative and good strategies. I think at first people are like, well, maybe this guy, there was a little bit of a reach to get him here, but the Rams knew like this is something that we think would work. We're going to go ahead and execute, get both of our guys because we think in the long run, how they work together is the sum of the parts is greater than each of them individually. And I think we're starting to see that for the Rams. And I think you brought up a great point at the beginning that this, starting to click, getting these guys to come in and do really well. This has sort of saved the Rams season being able to pull off that win because we all know the odds, it's posted everywhere. Anyone that goes 0-3 is like a 2.5% chance to make the playoffs after that happens, or something along those lines. The Rams able to pull it out, get a big win despite all of these injuries, despite having to rely on a couple of rookies to step in and make some big time plays. I think this shows they know exactly what they're doing when it comes to drafting players, and I'm really excited to see this strategy pay off.
Well, the interesting thing is that they kind of already did it with Young and Kobe Turner, right? Last season, those were two young guys that stepped up and surprised a lot of people. Kobe Turner, I think a lot of people's opinion, I know we talked about it at the time, was the real defensive rookie of the year. He was a dominant force. Obviously, Aaron Donald retires. There's huge shoes to fill there. And the Rams did the old Moneyball approach, right? You may not be able to replace a guy like Aaron Donald with a single guy. Honestly, realistically, you can't, but you certainly can try and replace his production in the aggregate. And they got halfway there with Turner and Young last offseason. They seem to be getting 100% there, maybe even a little bit beyond with Fisk and Verse so far this season. And I think that's the sort of under the radar direction the Rams are heading in. We think of them as like a veteran team because we think of Stafford. We've seen McVay for so many years. We think of guys like Cooper Kupp. But the reality is this is a very young squad at a lot of the most important positions. They're very young up front on the defensive line. They're going to be good for a very, very long time. They've got a lot of young pieces on the offensive line. Hopefully some of them start to get healthy, but they're going to be good there. I look at a guy like Avila to emerge potentially as a big time player for them in the future. Again, hopefully when he gets healthy. You look at Corum and Kyron Williams, young running backs. Of course, we all know about Puka Nacua and the superstar he already is. Quarterback long term is a question mark with Stafford, of course, towards the end of his career. But this is a young team that's very talented and set up for the long haul. We're kind of seeing the Rams here, kind of the inverse of what they were about 5 years ago when they were very short term oriented, going all in for a single approach. What the Rams now have shifted to very smartly under Les Snead is drafting and bringing in players to develop and work together, again, with the pod strategy. How can we build a quality long-term team? And I think this is why the Rams battling through what happened in 2022, what happened last season, even though they did make the playoffs, and some of the injury concerns now. If they can battle through this, and I think there's still a playoff team when healthy this year, the future will look really, really bright in Los Angeles because it's a young, uber talented team that will very quickly be the best defense, I think, in the NFC West, if not the entire NFC. They're going to be stacked up front for years to come.